Eid has drawn flack from the Supreme Court. In fact, the Supreme Court has gone as far to say that this is a sorry state of affairs, something that's wholly uncalled for. This marks an interesting intervention by the court, which is, a continuation of interventions across courts, whether it's high courts or Supreme Court during the pandemic, in terms of telling the governments of various states, the center, what should be done and what really is the need of the hour. So to help us understand how the courts so far have stepped up when it comes to protecting people, protecting citizens amid the COVID pandemic, we have with us Bhadra Sinha, who tracks law for us, who tracks courts for us. So we'll begin by talking, Bhadra, about this latest intervention by the court. So can you tell us something about what the court said today, what the hearing was about?
Yeah, so Ruhi, this matter actually came up before the court led by Justice Arif Nariman yesterday. I'm sure all of us recollect that how the court had actually last week taken so motor cognizance of media reports over the Uttar Pradesh government going ahead with the Kalabar Yatra. And after taking cognizance, it had summoned the council for Uttar Pradesh government, for Uttarakhand, as well as the central government, and the bench had made it very clear that at no cost will Kalabar Yatra be allowed this year, especially at a time when the third wave of COVID is actually looming large. And during that hearing, the court had made very clear that the rights of citizens when it comes to life and health is more important, and other rights, including religious rights, cannot be given so much of importance, and they cannot interfere with the fundamental rights to life and health.
Right.
So when the so-called motor cognizance matter came up for hearing yesterday, the court was actually faced with another intervention application filed by a Delhi-based resident who brought to the bench's notice about Kerala government's decision to ease down the lockdown restrictions in certain areas where the positivity rate of COVID infections is very high in the state.
More than 15%.
More than 15%. So the gentleman pressed his application, and taking note of it, the bench invited an answer from the Kerala government, which was filed late last night. The Kerala government gave an explanation to the extent they said that the decision to actually ease down the relaxations was taken after the traders' body met the chief minister, gave a representation to say that the Bakri Eid sales will alleviate their poor conditions which they are facing due to COVID lockdowns, and that is the reason why the restrictions were eased down for 3 days. In the entire state, but especially with regard to the areas where the infection is more than 15%. In that area, it was eased down only for a day. Now, so there was a notification issued to this effect. So today, when the matter came up for hearing again, the bench made it very clear it means no words, in expressing its concern. And repeatedly, it kept saying that it's a very alarming situation. It's a sad state of affairs that Kerala government decided to ease down the restrictions, at the cost of the life of other citizens. And such a step in no way safeguards the rights of the citizens, their right to life and their health. So it went ahead and gave an order. But unfortunately, it did not quash the notification.
Okay.
Because all of us know that the Eid celebrations are tomorrow, and it did not quash the notification because, on a very technical ground, because the applicant had not challenged the notification per se.
Right.
He had only challenged the ease down of the restrictions. So, but yes, the bench was quite alarmed. In fact, they used the word alarmed, and they went to the extent of saying that the state government had actually given in to the pressures of the traders' lobby, and it reiterated its concern and asserted that the rights of the citizens, the right to life and health, is supreme, is the most fundamental rights which the Constitution guarantees.
Right. So, but Bhadra, just to understand, in this case, the restrictions will remain eased, or is the onus on the state government to pay heed to the court's
See, now,
words?
as far as these restrictions are concerned, they were to be in effect for 3 days. 18th, 19th and 20th in 3 categories, category A, B and C.
Okay.
As far as category D is concerned, which is the most severe zones, there the restriction was, was eased, relaxed for just one day, which was yesterday. So technically, if you see, since the hearing came a day after, the restrictions were relaxed. So that's why the court really did not go into it deeply, but yes, it kind of expressed its disapproval in very clear words, and it told the Kerala government that the Kerala government needs to follow its orders given in the Kalabar Yatra matter,
right,
where while citing the provisions of the constitution, the bench made it very clear that this kind of pilgrimage or religious festivities cannot be carried out or conducted at the cost of the lives of individuals and of citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
So Bhadra, I was hoping to sort of take this opportunity to look into the court's role during the pandemic. There have been high courts, the Delhi High Court, the Gujarat High Court, Kolkata High Court.
In fact, high courts across states have intervened to take stock of the various measures which respective state governments have taken vis-a-vis the COVID, vis-a-vis management of COVID-related issues and problems, whether it comes to hospital management, whether it is with regard to oxygen supply, because oxygen supply during the second wave was really a problematic affair, especially in Delhi, or whether if it is regard to even migrants, the concerns of the migrants.
Right.
And it is not just this year, it actually started on last year. And the courts have been constantly monitoring the kind of work which the states have done or carried out since COVID actually, since the pandemic broke in March last year.
Right.
So yes, the intervention has been there, and it is quite an active intervention to the extent that the judiciary has come under severe criticism for it. But I think the judiciary has really stood up to its constitutional task. And many a times it has actually, their orders have really led to changes in the way the governments were managing the affairs.
Right.
I think the most important change has been with regard to the vaccination policy, because the Supreme Court had made very critical remarks. It did not pass any orders on the merit of the vaccination policy, but yes, it made very critical remarks and felt that, prima facie the policy was in violation of the constitution. And following that remark, only the government of India had to go ahead and change the policy, wherein they made vaccines free of cost. 75% of the purchase was to be done by the central government, and it is now going to be provided free of cost to all the citizens. So yes, it has played a very active role. There is no doubt about it. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is in fact related. When we are talking about active role, Omkar Darpe wants to know, in the case of Kalabar Yatra as well as the Eid relaxations, are we seeing judicial activism? So there is a thin line between necessary intervention and judicial activism.
Exactly. But as I said, in both the cases, the reason why Supreme Court intervened is because the decisions affect the rights to life of people. And as far as our right to health is concerned, it's intrinsic to Article 21, which guarantees all of us the right to life and right to live with dignity. So I think as the top court, or as a court which has a constitutional duty to perform, I don't see any reason why it should not intervene in such matters, and especially when all of us know that these decisions are based on, they are populist decisions.
Right.
They are not based on any rationality. Although in both the cases, the state governments actually claimed that the decision to go ahead with these kind of religious functions and ceremonies were taken after they got a report from the State Disaster Management Committee permitting them to go ahead. But still, all of us know that with COVID still looming, and with the third wave, with people talking and predicting about the third wave, these kind of large social gatherings is definitely a no-no in the present atmosphere, in the present scenario. And we must also remember one thing, Ruhi, as far as the Kalabar Yatra is concerned, all of us know that even the health experts had actually warned against having it. So for the courts to intervene, in such a scenario, I don't think I'll personally call it judicial activism.
Right.
Many people may. In fact, many people have criticized it. And in fact, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, in one of his recent lectures commented on it also. But then he also said that, when courts and judges come across certain decisions which blatantly violate the constitutional rights of the citizens of this country, it is imminent for courts and judges to intervene.
Right.
Yeah.
We all saw what happened with the Kumbh Mela. So, if the Kalabar Yatra had been allowed to sort of take place, the third wave could have come sooner than.
No, in fact, in both these instances, the main question which actually arose was that both the state government said that we are going to follow the COVID protocols. We have laid down guidelines to make sure that COVID protocols are followed. But the main question which arose was that who will actually enforce these protocols, because as all of us saw during the Kumbh Mela, all these norms were violated with impunity. So these things it's very easy to pen down and write down in orders, but it's very difficult to implement it on the ground. And I think the courts actually probably can foresee this reality, and that is why it felt and they feel that it is necessary for them to intervene.
Right, all right. This is from Rajesh. Can you explain the right to life and health? What does it entail?
So Article 21 of the Indian Constitution speaks about right to live with dignity. Now, right to live with dignity actually encompasses several rights, and one of them is right to health. Now, right to health means that I have a right to live a healthy life in my country, and no such activity should be undertaken that can affect me, that can affect my good health. And to organize such kind of mass gatherings right now amidst the coronavirus pandemic is surely going to affect my right to health, because I am vulnerable to catching this kind of infection. So if it is affecting my health, so it is affecting my right to live, right to live with dignity. So, and time and again in various judgments, the Supreme Court has reiterated that right to life is the supreme fundamental right guaranteed by the Constitution, and no administrative decision or executive decision can actually violate this right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. This question is from Sanket Kulkarni. Is the centre just trying to politicize the matter? As Kerala is handling COVID better, as they've never had oxygen crunch? How's the hospital situation in Kerala? I think Avantika perhaps is a better person to...
Yeah, but I can just tell you that in this particular matter, there was no response sought from the centre. So the central government...
had no role to play.
That's right, had no role to play.
Okay. Hitesh Nautiyal also has a question on the court interfering in the role of the executive and legislature, but I think you've already delved into it.
In fact, this is, I think, the most debatable, much debated topic. The role of the court and its interference, and what is the jurisdiction, its boundary. In fact, last week, one of the benches has actually taken note of it. And in fact, it took note of it in a COVID-related matter only. And they want to kind of lay down some sort of guidelines or the limits up to which judiciary can actually give orders when it comes to interfering with government decisions. But let us see how how the hearing continues in it and what really happens, because those were all oral observations. So somewhere even the judiciary also feels
it's conscious of the fact.
That's right. It is conscious of the facts. But I think in most of these cases, especially during the COVID time, the judiciary has actually intervened when it really felt that the situation is very extreme. Otherwise, in many matters, they have restrained. They have restrained themselves. It's not that in every petition or matter they have interfered. Seeking.
Okay, this is a slightly unrelated question, Bhadra. It's on privacy. Sonia J, what are the major judgments as far as right to privacy is concerned? And can they give any precedents for cases similar to Pegasus? So this is, of course, in relation.
Okay, so of course, the major judgment with regard to right to privacy is the Puttaswamy judgment, which came before the Aadhaar, before issue related to the constitutional validity of Aadhaar Act was decided by the Supreme Court. And in that judgment, it was a 9-judge bench judgment. And in that judgment, the Supreme Court declared that right to privacy is an integral part of our right to live. See, privacy per se is not really defined in the Constitution, but our Constitution is an evolving document. And time and again, as our laws have evolved, Supreme Court has, kind of broadened, widened, and redefined the term right to live, or under Article 19, which is right to freedom. So as far as privacy is concerned, under this particular judgment, the Supreme Court has held that privacy is the most crucial and important aspect of Article 21, which is right to life. But at the same time, the bench went on to say that there can be times where this privacy may have to be violated, but then it laid down a safeguard, a test under which the executive can bring out or can carry out an operation that can affect your or my right to privacy.
Right.
But then that such a law or such a decision has to pass this test of proportionality.
Right.
And in this test, what is really to be seen is whether the act which the government or an executive wants to perform or carry out, whether it is related to the object or not. If it is not, then it doesn't stand the test of proportionality. So this is the main judgment so far. And as far as tapping is concerned, I think one of the biggest cases with regard to tapping was the Meera Radia one.
Right.
Now this case is still pending because Ratan Tata had challenged the entire tapping controversy in the Supreme Court because his phone was also tapped amongst the many others. But this matter is still pending in the Supreme Court. We have had some judgments in the past where the Supreme Court has time and again said that you cannot flout the right of privacy, and even if you want to carry out or conduct phone tapping, then it has to be done based on certain guidelines. It cannot be done randomly. So those judgments are there, but Pegasus is something new which has come up. So let us see. And as I told you, the Ratan Tata case is still pending. That is yet to be decided. So hopefully this incident should kind of propel the Supreme Court to take up the matter and decide as soon as possible.
Right, but of course Pegasus right now is just a lot of conjecture.
That's right.
We don't know who has done what, so
That's
one has to
also
tread
right.
carefully on that. Okay, I'll take one last question, Bhadra. This is again coming back to what we were discussing earlier, Tanveer Panjwani. The difference between the Kalabar Yatra and Eid celebrations is that the Kalabar Yatra was affecting 3 states and the Eid celebration is a decision affecting only 1 state. That is Kerala. Do you think, what do you think? Do you think that makes a difference?
No, I would just like to correct him here. As far as Kalabar Yatra is concerned, if you remember, Uttarakhand had already called it off. Yeah, right. So it was only Uttar Pradesh which wanted to go ahead with Kalabar Yatra. And even though UP had given a green signal, Uttarakhand had made very clear that we will not let anybody enter our state. And in fact, they had gone ahead and taken certain measures. They had sealed their borders. The senior police officers were, told very clearly that nobody from UP should be allowed to enter. So as far as Kalabar Yatra is concerned, that was also in a way restricted to just 1 state. And of course, Kerala, the Bakar Eid celebrations, the relaxation is of course again restricted to Kerala. That is 1 state only. So both of them in a way were kind of related to just 1 state each.
Right. All right. So sorry state of affairs, the Supreme Court coming down heavily on the Kerala government for allowing relaxations on COVID norms because of Eid celebrations. As Bhadra mentioned, some interventions by the court are required, some interventions by the court are welcome, especially when it comes to right to life and right to health. Thank you so much, Bhadra, for being with us in this episode of Government Matters. Thank you for sending in your questions. Do keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. In fact, now you can become a member of our YouTube community. The details are below, given in the description through a link, so you can click on it, pay a little bit and become a member.